Perfect. That's a nice little wave. Lane, let me know when you're ready.
All right, Steven.
Okay. Chris Nee will have the first question.
Hey Adam, what did you like about what the defense did, especially outside the last drive? I think it was 163 yards over 55 plays before that drive.
I mean, I thought we went out there with a good mindset, and I thought we executed. You know, we limited them. I think they got a good wide receiver. They got a veteran quarterback, and I thought our guys did exactly what we want them to do. We executed at a pretty high level, and I thought, you know, we tackled better. I thought we rushed the passer well. You know, we wanted to be aggressive with how we played, and we were. Our kids did a really good job of limiting them and helping get our team on top and off to a really fast start.
Brendan?
Patrick Payton had a pretty expanded role on Saturday. I guess how did he do in his first really large game experience?
He did well. You know, he impacted the quarterback 4 times in the game. You know, I think they credit him with 1 sack, but he was definitely impactful. You know, he was. You know, we got to finish a few plays with him when he had him in his grasp. But you know, Patrick executes and he plays hard and he's a team player. He cares a lot about his teammates. And you know, that year he had of development, his redshirt year, he gained a lot of ground. We're continuing to try to gain more ground because his role has expanded, partly because Jared went down, but also because he deserved it. And so, you know, he's taken advantage the last 2 weeks of the playing time we've given him. So it's going to keep going in that direction for him.
Hassan?
How big is it for your defense to get Omari Cooper back? And you know, he got the interception on the first drive. Is he looking like he's regaining his form now? Well, how does he look?
Yeah, Duke is, you know, he's somebody that, you know, I've got a great amount of trust in because of how he works. It was unfortunate that, you know, towards the end of camp there, but I think he's more of himself. You know, he had his best week of practice last week, and you know, it shows the 3rd play of the game when he was back in. You know, he was in the right place right at the time, and he made the play. And so, you know, I think he's back to form, and it's important because we're going to need him this week to play at a really high level. But I got no doubt that Duke's got all the confidence in the world, and it's been earned because of how he's gone about preparing, and he's got a high standard for himself, and you know, we need a big week out of him.
Ira?
With the slow mesh stuff that Wake does offensively, as a fan or media member, you look at it and you wonder, why can't you just go disrupt it? Like, why do you have to? And what's the mentality? And are there different approaches to it defensively? And not to ask what you're going to do, but have you seen things that work against it?
Yeah, I mean, when the ball goes in there, if you really attack it, sometimes they pull it and they throw it to a really good player running down the field. You know, so that's part of why they do it. I know it sounds simple, but listen, they've been really good on offense for several years. Coach Clausen does a great job. And, you know, why are they really good? Well, they play with really good tempo, so they keep it playing at their pace. They execute at a high level. And they've had good perimeter players, and they've had a quarterback that has delivered it, so they've won one-on-ones. You know, so not to break it down to simplicity, but their tempo, their execution, and their one-on-one matchup of how they play has been really favorable for them on offense the last couple of years. And this year, really, nobody's really gotten in their way enough. And so, you know, we played against them 1 time last year, and you know, that game didn't start off the way we wanted it, and you know, there were a lot of factors in that. And you know, it'll be a challenge, but you know, I like our team.
Kurt?
Kind of, I guess, along those lines, what do you think the 4-quarter performance really from the defense can do for the confidence? I'm sure you're just looking at the one game, but the next 3 all against some pretty talented offense. What do you think the BC game, the performance there could do for the confidence of the group going into that stretch coming up?
Yeah, I don't think they've ever lacked confidence. You know, I think it's stretches we played really good, and then there's been some stretches that we wish we could play better. But I think we had a complete game. I mean, started with the kickoff return, you know, then it went to the takeaway on the first series on play 3, then our offense scored, and we stopped them again. I mean, that's part of playing good football, you know. Everybody plays off of each other. Hopefully it's all positive from all 3 levels on the team. But, you know, when the offense needs us, we've got to play at a high level and vice versa. So, you know, I think our guys, it was good to have a game like that. That was our plan, and it's always good when you stick to the plan.
Emma, that's the only time I've watched Wake play. I assume you've watched more than the 1 game. But is that,
is that what they're going to do a lot of, that going in, they're looking for one-on-one matchups outside and they will literally just throw it up? And if the kid makes the play, he might get interfered with, but is that as big a part of their offense as it was on Saturday against Clemson, or was that more of a specific?
Yeah, I
scheme
think
that Clemson was running?
when you watch the game against Clemson, right, and, Clemson was being aggressive with them and they were able to throw the ball. Well, then once that happens, what do? You give more help to the perimeter players, and next thing you know, the run game's starting to open up more for them. So I think if you look at them statistically, yeah, it favors, there's more throwing yards, but typically, unless it's an option offense, most offenses have a little bit more total yards in the air than they do the ground. But the really good offenses are productive in both ways. And there is a thing of take what the defense gives you. And I think that's what offenses try to do nowadays. There are numbers advantages or space advantages that offenses go by. But sometimes in clutch moments or third downs, like, it doesn't matter what the book says, like, this is my matchup that I'm going to go to. And I think you see that in Wake's offense a lot. You see it play by the book. And it starts with a quarterback that's been there for a long, long time. And he's played in the same offense and they've been really successful. And so there are numbers advantages, but it's not just that, right? I mean, anybody can line up and say, well, we're going to give them a 4-2 box and everybody's going to back up, so they're going to hand the ball off. Well, we're going to give them the same box, everybody's going to come forward, they're going to throw it. That does happen a lot, and that's probably where a lot of it starts. But then there's what is the leverage of the deep defenders? What is the leverage of the down defenders? And how aggressive are they? Do I think I can get the ball to them? And then if I'm the quarterback, like, where is my advantage from a personnel standpoint? Coach said do this, but I know that this is going to happen, so I'm going to throw the one-on-one ball. And so, just to try to address what you said, that's kind of how a lot of this stuff plays out. My job is to be able to sit down and tell the defense in quick answers, this is what they're going to try to do, this is how we're going to go stop it. Because it does come down to playing fast, playing aggressive, and not hesitating, especially when tempo is a major factor. Right? You don't want check to check to check because you don't have time to do all that. So you want to be able to get your cleats in the ground. You want to be able to fall back on your training. And so that comes with doing the things that you're comfortable doing against the things that will work against what they're doing. And so, that's our plan here this week. We got to go play our best football game.
Chris?
Sticking with the theme of Wake's offense and their ability to be vertical and all of the things they can do, how much does FSU's improved offense help this defense prepare for that versus what maybe you guys had going into last year in the sense of what you were seeing every day?
Yeah, at the end of the scoreboard, you never see one side of the ball in the score. It says Florida State, it's got a point total, and then it tells you what you're going to do. And so the better team you have, the better it's going to have a result, right? So whether it's a kickoff return, whether it's a punt block, whether it's penalties, whether it's us running the football, whether us throwing the football, or us just defending them. And I think, to have a good team, people play off of each other, and I think that's what we're creating here. And that's what really good programs do. You're good in all aspects. There are some programs that just dominate on one side of the ball, and there's a strength in that too. But I don't think you ever want a team that just has, hey, we're known for this. You want to be a team where they have a great offense, they have a great defense, and these kids all collectively play in the kicking game and have an impact. And that's what we're building here.
Son?
You guys have faced some talented quarterbacks this year already. How does Sam Hartman compare to some of the you guys played, and how do you guys defend him?
Yeah, I would say he's definitely the most confident and comfortable quarterback we've played against. I mean, there's nothing that's going to happen out there that he's probably going to be confused. Now, if you take away people and the timing and you create pressure and all those things to create uncomfortability, I think that's all part of what you'd like to do. But if there's guys running behind your secondary and he's got a pocket to throw the football, it's gonna be a long day. And so you've got to find ways to disrupt timing. You've got to find ways to disrupt his comfortability in the pocket. You've got to find ways to rally to the football when maybe your numbers put somewhere else. So, I mean, he's been really successful in our league. I know I've said that a couple times about a couple of the quarterbacks we played against, but he has been. And the numbers prove it, and his success has proved it. But I do like our team.
On that topic, it seemed like you did a good job of making BC's quarterbacks feel a little bit uncomfortable. And some of the pressures you dialed up, is that in terms of the DBs or linebackers, if they're blitzing, is that like a learned skill about how to time it, how to disguise it, and how does that process?
Yeah.
Seems like it's come along.
You know, I think, Ira, that's a good question, and what you have to do, like what I try never to do is go into a week and say, hey, we're gonna do this. And all the players say, okay, how do we do that, right? Now, if they ask that question, you say, well, this plays like this and this, just combine those two principles. Players say, okay, got it, coach, that makes sense. But when you start, like there's certain things that we've probably been practicing for 3 or 4 months that we still haven't called in a game yet. And that's ideally how you want to develop a defense or an offense. You want to continue to mature things and work on things and tweak things so it's gone through the experiences of the players and they have confidence no matter what happens. You know, there were things that we called on Saturday that we've been practicing for 3 to 4 months, you know, and maybe we'll do it out of a different front, or maybe it'll be done out of a different defensive personnel group. But you know, I think that's how you become really good. And you know, you have certain concepts that your guys feel super comfortable with. You're able to put those concepts with different title pages so it looks different to an offense. But your guys feel confident in the adjustments or the reactions. Then the second part of that is just to become good blitzers, you have to blitz in practice, and you got to be able to do it in full speed and not say, well, what if this back flares? What if this tackle veers? What if this quarterback rolls at me? What if there's option? You know, and all those things, so a guy doesn't blitz slow, because anybody in the stands can watch a guy blitz and say, wow, that guy looks fast, or he looks unsure. And if you're going to bring people aggressively, you can't have a lot of what ifs. You know, they've got to be trained that way. So you've got to practice it. You got to practice against full speed looks. And so, you know, we have blitz circuits, we have things that we do against our offense, we have things we do against scouts, we have things we do in walkthroughs. And all of it's to try and build the confidence so when it's called out there on Saturday night that it looks fast and it looks clean.
Clear?
I've got 2 questions, so bear with me, forgive me. The first one is, how much does it help your DBs this year? Because you're going up against some guys this week. Wake Forest has some dudes out wide that can play. That you have, the receivers you have in practice that they have to go up against and try to win one-on-one battles against. How much does that help them preparing for a game like this?
Yeah, I think success breeds success, iron sharpens iron, however you want to say it. But it is important. You know, listen, there's no bigger fan of our wideouts in practice than me. Like, if you want them to go, if you want your DBs to step up the competition and you want your D-line to play well, like, it's important that the other side, and vice versa. And it's the same thing. I mean, true competition is about trying to be your best, right? I know that's a line that we use around here, but it's critical to understand that. And you know, if you're a true competitor, when you go out there Saturday and you're dominating an opponent, yeah, you're excited about it, but you're a little bit let down. You want people to push you. You want, because that's how we all become better. And so at those moments in those games, like, listen, we don't want anybody on our opponent to be hurt or injured, but you want their best. You know, because at the end of the day, you want to do things that you never thought you could. And that only happens based off pressure, application, what's being put up against you. And so, you know, the wideouts that we brought in here, the wideouts that we have developed, because it's not just about recruiting, sometimes it's about the development too of, you know, Kentron, you know, the way he's showing up and some of the other guys. I think it's definitely helped our secondary be more disciplined, be more fundamental sound, and yeah, that's going to help you play on game day.
And then the other question was, what was Saturday night like for you, man? Like, your first year here was a COVID year where you didn't play in front of big crowds, and last year it was not a great start. To feel the energy of this school and this program and that stadium, what was just, did you allow yourself to appreciate it all in the moment, even on that kick return? Or are you like, wow, this is really crazy, or are you too locked in to even care about it in the moment, what the stadium feels like, what the atmosphere feels like?
Yeah, I mean, I have an appreciation for history. I have an appreciation for programs like Florida State, and just to be here now in year 3, I think the thing that impacts me as much as the game day atmosphere is just, you know, how it makes people around Tallahassee feel. You know, listen, I'm a dad. I have kids that go to schools, and my wife lives in this community. I mean, we're part of the community. And just to hear people how excited and appreciative they are of how we're playing and the impact that that has on others, that's what means the most to me. Yes, 80,000 crowd noise, I love it. When we return the kick, yes, I'm excited, but all I'm caring about is the kickoff team and P and 10. Like, That's where my mind goes in the moment. But just the campus, going to a Little League field, my son has practice, and just the support around here. I mean, I go back to that game down in New Orleans. I mean, when you can't get in the hotel the night before a game because the fans just want to see your team, I mean, that's what Florida State is. I mean, that's what, this whole fan base, the university, and all of it is all about. And yes, it's a special place, and something I don't take for granted.
Aslan for the last question.
That was a really good answer. I was gonna ask you a question, but I wanted to let you walk it off, but I'm gonna stand in your way here.
And then you jump in. Good job. Yeah, I'll take another. Yeah.
On defense, it seems like this day and age, defensive ends, cover corners are like the glamour position on defense, but it used to be the linebackers. What have Kalen and Tatum and DJ, what have they done for you guys this early on? How important, crucial are they in a matchup like Wake Forest?
Yeah, there's no such thing as a cover corner, because the minute that cover corner has to tackle, he's not a very good corner. All right, so that's that. Linebackers, yes, it's good that we're playing well. You've got to be able to run nowadays, and we've started to bring that room to a point that we have really good athletes that are really good tacklers, and they're physical football players, and they're smart. And I thought Kalen had one of his better games. You felt his energy, you felt his space, ability to make plays. We tried to use him on third down a little bit this week too. Because I do think third downs is just your ability to try to tell stories throughout the season of this is what it is and this is what it's going to be, and then you keep building off of things that you have in, and you have a plan for the year. And those linebackers are important, even though sometimes there's only one of them on the field. They're still a big part of what we do on third down. But yeah, I think that linebacker room has done a nice job. I think Coach Shannon has done a good job leading those guys. I think they've done a good job of leading the unit at times. And I think it's a group that we've leaned on, and a group that needs to continue to do what they've done, and even at a higher level, as we move here forward through this season.